let me get into some training. The most powerful tool in the world for you to become a prolific network marketing recruiter. You know what it is? It's not your upline, and it's not your company. It's not your compensation plan. It's not your product. It's not a video. It's not an event. It is your story. Your story. Learning how to tell your story will open up every door in the world. Learning how to tell your story to your prospects will take them from being closed off to being open-minded. Will take them from being, no, I'm not interested, to tell me more. Will take them from wanting to run away sometimes to wanting to support you in your business. Learning how to tell your story. And some of you don't even know if you have a story, or maybe you don't feel like it's very special. I want to teach you today specifically how to tell your story. And when you tell your story, we're going to actually practice. I'm going to give you some training right now. I'm going to take you to an event from GoPro and have you just experience a little piece of what that was about storytelling. And then I'm going to give you a very specific and very simple and easy assignment when we're done. Okay? So are we ready? All right, take them to the training. One of the most important things that you need to realize in our profession that's different than other people's professions is the power of your story. Your story is a bigger deal. Here, you don't talk to the corporate executive at the bank and say, well, let me tell you my story. The corporate executive doesn't talk to his friend, the attorney, and say, well, let me tell you my story. They just don't do that. It's very transactional. But a big part of how we help other people see the picture for themselves is for us to tell our story. Learning how to do that. Now, if I could give you any gift, it is that you learn how to tell your story incredibly well and effective, but not only that, that everybody on your team does it as a reflex, not as a, oh, I should tell the story. It's automatic. My friend Emily Vavra, every time, and she's amazing, and Hayden, and all this whole group is awesome. Love these guys. And they're from Minnesota, which makes me double happy about them. But if you talk to Emily, as an example, and she talks to any new person, within 60 seconds, she's going to say something to the effect of, is it all right if I tell you my story real quick? She immediately does. She goes into that, and the story builds rapport. The story lowers the defenses. The story makes people want to learn more. The story that you're telling is the glue. I've learned from one of my key mentors in the network marketing, or in business, one of my key mentors. All business, write this down, please. It might take you a while for you to totally understand what I'm about to say, but let me tell you, all business is conversation. It's all it is. It's conversation. Your job is to start more conversations and keep them going. And in the conversation, you will find opportunity. Don't need to worry about the hard close and the fast sell and all that stuff. Don't need to worry about that. Just start the conversation. Keep the conversation going. And in the conversation, the magic will happen. So if people are talking, you and people in your group are talking about your business is in action. Your business is alive. If conversations have stopped, your business is dead. So your goal is to create conversation. What a better way to create conversation than through story. Story is amazing. So I'm going to teach you how to tell your story. We're going to go through a little exercise. If you're ready, say I'm ready. 4 parts to telling your story. Part number 1, 4 elements. Element number 1 is your background. You are a firefighter. You are a business person. Give me some backgrounds real quick. Oil field. Massage therapist. Law enforcement. Medical auditor. Research assistant. Self-employed. Doing what? Lawn care business. Engineer. Military. Banking. Real estate. Fund manager. Corporate America what? Sales. IT. How about you? HR. How about you? Law enforcement. Everybody's got one. If you're a teacher, you're a firefighter, it doesn't matter. If you're a student, that's your story. I'm a student. You know? I wait tables. Whatever it is, everybody's got a story. So your background is part number one. Part number two of your story is what you didn't like. What were the parts of that background that weren't perfect for you? Now, I'm not telling you you have to say, I hate my background. I was a teacher and I hate it. I'm not saying you have to do that. I work for a charity and I hate it. I'm not saying you have to do that. But there is something that is not perfect in any background. If you're a blue collar worker, maybe it's hard on your body. Maybe it's dependent on the economy up and down. Maybe it's dependent on the weather, whether you're working or not. Unions, who knows? All kinds of things outside of your control. If you're a teacher, maybe you have to deal with politics. You're underpaid for what you're doing. You know, you got to watch out in that world, and you are so passionate about it, but no matter how good you are, there's only so much they're going to pay you. Even if you're the best teacher in the world, there's only so much you're going to get paid to teach 6th grade English. I'm sorry, that's all you're going to get. Right? No matter what it is, there's something. Might be money, might be appreciation. It might be you're bored. You know, there's no challenge anymore. There's something about it that causes you to search for something more. Part three of your story is that you found a solution. You found a solution. You found something that will help you to develop the other part of your life. You found a solution to being underpaid. You found a solution to being underappreciated. You found a solution to being out of control of your own future. You found a solution to having to kiss somebody's butt every single day that you don't respect. You found a solution. And then number 4 is how you feel about the future. How do you feel about the future now? How do you feel when you get up in the morning, now that you have a solution, now that you've found this thing, now that you've created this new path in your life? Even though you're maybe still full-time in that background, but now you've got a way where 3 years from now, 5 years from now, you can be living a different life. Okay? So I know we have lots of different organizations here, so I'd like you to keep this without company names or without product mentions. But what I would like you to do in a moment, and I want you to play like a pro in this session, okay? Don't be an amateur or a poser and be too cool for this stuff. Because I get it. I'm about to ask you to tell your story to a stranger. And when they go and when I am at church and they say hi to the person on your right and on your left, guess who I say hi to? I say hi to my wife and I sit down. I'm asking you not to do that. Some of you are going to say, this is an excellent time to go to the bathroom because I've been needing to go to the bathroom. Right? Don't hide from this exercise. Feel it. I want you to find somebody you don't know well. And also, please don't say, let's pretend we don't know each other. Don't do that either. I want you to find somebody you don't know well that speaks the same language as you. And I want you to tell your story to them. And I want them to turn around and tell their story back to you. I'm going to give you a total of 5 minutes, 30 seconds to find your partner, 2 minutes for one side, 2 minutes for the other side, and back in your chair. You have to work with me. When I say stop, get back to your chair. Ready, set, go. Now, we need to go quick on this, but I want to ask, give me some observations. What did you notice in this exercise? Anyone?
She noticed that the two of them had a lot in common. How many people noticed you had a lot in common with somebody else? All right, what else? They're in love with what they're doing. The passion is infectious. What else? Everyone has a story. Everybody has problems. Huh? Everybody found a solution. They weren't just whining about it.
Mike, unless Eric.
Go ahead.
Wow. 1 second, I need to breathe. Okay, I'm 67 years old, and
It's not that big a trophy. Come on.
and a quarter.
Yes.
I understand now when I tell my story that is not the right way, that there is a better way, because now I have zero income and I decide that this is my way to help my family and to help others, because I am a nurse. I was born a nurse. I want to help people and I want to help my family. And the other way bring me in 67 and a quarter with zero income.
That's most people.
So this, 2 weeks ago, I quit the job that I worked so hard. I cannot believe how I worked so hard. I took the money that they gave me and I come here.
Oh. Well, congratulations. Here we go. I thought you were going to start recruiting us. I was just going to say, hey, we're already in, sister. We're all signed up. What else did you learn? How many people made a really quick 2-minute friend? When you see each other in the hallway, it's going to be different. How many people wanted to learn more? How many people instinctively in your DNA, you wanted to help the other person? Isn't that something? How would you like your prospects to want to help you? Wouldn't that be interesting? Instead of running away. Now, how many people felt like it was appropriate to bring up an objection? Anyone? Like, I want to object to your story. How many people felt a need to criticize the other person? Anyone? No criticism, no objections, all love. In 2 minutes. How many people went second? Raise your hands, please. And how many of you were more open because the other person went first? Like, oh, all right, you went first. All right, I'll tell you my real story. I was going to tell you the fake story, but now I'll tell you the real story since you told me the real story. Fine. So, one of these 4 elements, and some of you followed my stuff, you know the answer to this question, so I won't do the big trick with you. But if you put up the 4 elements of the story, your background, what you didn't like, that you found a solution, how you feel about the future, one of those 4 is absolutely far and away the most important. And most people, first time they see this, they don't realize which one. And the answer is what you didn't like. Your dissatisfaction is the most important. Your pain is the most important. Because listen to me, nobody cares about how cool you are and how great your future is. And a matter of fact, they might resent it. Oh yeah, you're going to brag about how cool you are? Tell me more about your company. Tell me more about how excited about your future. You're acting all big shot, giving them all the facts. They don't care. They're not even listening. They're waiting for it to be over. What's most important is that you build a connection with another human being over your shared experiences, over your pain, over your hurt, over your challenges. That's what builds rapport. That's what makes people want to help. That's what makes people want to listen. It's the most important thing. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to do it again and find a different person this time. And this time, I want you to emphasize your dissatisfaction. I want you to be more real than maybe you've ever been to another human being, because we're taught never show your weakness, never talk about your pain. Nobody wants to hear about it, right? Be strong, man up, stiff upper lip, all that stuff. What I'm going to ask you to do is be more authentic than maybe you've ever been to another human being, and say the way that they treat me at that office has made me feel small for the last 10 years. In the last 5 years, that smallness has turned into resentment, and I don't want to live like that anymore because it's spilling into the rest of my life. I'm tired of getting paid 10% of what I'm worth. I'm tired of being unappreciated for the efforts that I put in to help somebody else do what they need to do. I'm tired of the limitations. I'm tired of saying, no, we can't afford it to my kids. I'm done with it. I don't want to feel like this anymore. So whatever that is for you, whatever that is for you, say it like you maybe never even said it to your spouse because you're trying to protect them from your pain. Maybe you've never said it to your friends because you're just trying to be strong. Your kids certainly don't know because you're trying to be tough. For this moment, in this safe environment, I want you to do that, okay? All right, 5 minutes. Find a new partner. Ready, set, go.
All right. How many of you had a enjoyable experience? Raise your hands, please. How many people made another 2-minute friend? When you see them in the hallway, it's going to be special. How many of you traded information because you want to stay in touch? How many are going to see them later tonight? Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Vulnerability's sexy. I'm just saying. Now, here's the thing. This isn't hard. This is friendly. This is light. This is enjoyable. Most of you did this with a perfect stranger. And within a few minutes, you built rapport with another human being. The opportunity to talk to that person. How many people felt like you wanted to learn more? Tell me more. Tell me more. Right? It's natural. Any entrepreneur naturally connects the dots in their mind. If you just tell a story, an entrepreneur is going to say, well, maybe this could work for me. I don't know. Maybe. Entrepreneurs connect the dots. Entrepreneurs can't walk into a venue like this without counting seats. An entrepreneur can't look at the concession stand outside and figure out how many people they got and what's going on. I mean, entrepreneurs are a unique breed. They look for opportunity and they look to see how they can connect with the opportunity. So,
doing this is critical and it's important, and you need to do all 4 things. I'm going to do a 2-minute exercise with you, and you don't need to leave your seat. What I want you to do is I want you to do your story one more time. 2 minutes, 1 minute on each side. That's it. But this time you're forbidden to give your background, and you're forbidden to talk about what you didn't like about it. You can't do that. All you get to talk about is hey, I found a solution. Here's how I feel about the future. Okay? 1 minute. And then turn around. The other person gets to do it 1 minute back to them. You can stay in your seat to do this with the person next to you. Ready, set, go. 2 minutes.
now, how did that feel? Way different, right? How many people did it feel pushy? Did it feel salesy? Rushed? Awkward? Incomplete? Didn't know where to start? See, here's what I'm talking about. It's the same 3rd and 4th thing that you talked about before, but without building rapport, it feels way different. Your prospects are going to be naturally guarded in the conversation if you don't just tell them your background and what you didn't like. You build some rapport. Now, if you're going to do this with someone, and let's say you tell them your story, but they won't tell you theirs. They just don't naturally start talking like you guys just did in the exercise. Well, that's normal. My friend Tom Chenault is the absolute genius at this. He interviews everyone he meets. He interviews them. He just says, well, tell me about you. Where do you come from? What's your story? He asks them the 4 questions. What's your background? Were there any parts of your background that wasn't the perfect scenario? What was the good part? What was the bad part? What was the challenging part? If you could change any part, what would you change? He gets all this information, builds rapport with another human being, and then it's very easy for him through his story and through effective follow-up to build a connection and at least get a person to take a look with an open mind. That's the goal. So you need to develop the muscle of storytelling. Guess what most of you are really good at right now? Fact giving. Let me tell you how awesome my company is. Let me tell you how amazing my product is. Let me tell you how incredible the compensation plan is. Have I told you we're expanding into a new country? Have I told you we have this new tool? Let me blah, 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 blah. Nobody cares. Take a second, build rapport, build a connection with a real human being, and then they'll learn everything you got. Don't worry about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, your story is a powerful example of the human spirit, and it will open doors that nothing else can open. No amount of logic or intelligence or fanciness is going to get past the rapport that you can build by telling your story to another human being. The 4 elements, if you haven't written them down, are your background, what you didn't like, your dissatisfaction about that background, your pain, you found a solution, and how you feel about the future. Okay? Background, what you didn't like, you found a solution, how you feel about the future. Now, I have 2 very specific assignments for you in relation to your story. You're going to be amazed. Every time you come into contact with somebody, tell your story. Every time you get into conversation with somebody, tell your story. Every time you're following up, tell them your story one more time. Your family doesn't know your story. Your kids don't know your story. Your spouse probably doesn't know your story. Because again, you've been trying to protect them from your pain. Learning how to tell your story is critical. So I have 2 assignments. One assignment, the first one, I want you to go into the GoPro 7-Day Recruiting Challenge page, and I want you to make a video of your story and share it with everybody else in the challenge, generically. I don't want you to mention companies or products. I want you to talk about your background, what you didn't like, that you found a solution, and how you feel about the future. Background, what you didn't like, that you found a solution, and how you feel about the future. And don't worry, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're among friends. Consider this practice. Consider this practice. And from that practice, I want each and every one of you to do that. If you accept that challenge, put "I accept" into the comments. I accept. I will do it. Okay? Have the courage, take that step in front of a friendly group. The second assignment is I want you to begin to start telling your story with your company or products, to the world. It doesn't have to be generic, of course. I want to challenge you to tell your story 100 times between now and the end of November. Tell your story to 100 people between now and the end of November. And if you got to practice for a little while first, go ahead and do that. Practice with your dog, practice with your spouse, practice with your kids, your family members. Hey, can I practice on you? Remember we talked about hot market? Perfect opportunity for you to tell your story to the hot market, ask them to support you. Can I tell you the story? You know why I was so excited? You know why I overdid it when I talked to you the first time? I was just ambitious. I wanted to change my life. But what I didn't tell you the first time, I didn't tell you my story. And let me tell you really why I'm doing this. Here's my background. Here's my pain. Here's the solution that I found. And here's how I feel about the future. You tell your story that way to your friends and family, and they will climb a mountain to help you. You'll have their support so over the top. Okay? So if you accept the 100 story challenge, I want you to put 100 into the comments. Put accept if you're going to put it into the challenge page and share it with us. And all of us, our job is to give you encouragement, reinforcement, maybe some feedback, coach you a little so you can help it. And then 100 is for you to tell your story 100 times to 100 different prospects between now and the end of November. Very reasonable, realistic challenge. Okay. So you got it? 2 simple challenges, both around story. 1 to us, 100 to the world. All right. Before I introduce, because everybody's on now, and when we started off, before I introduce Mr. Dean Graziosi, who's just an amazing soul, and he's going to bring you so much value, I just can't even stand it. I want to tell you one more time about Virtual GoPro. Okay, put up the slide, please, for Virtual GoPro. We have 3 tickets, just so you know. It's virtualgopro.com. There's general admission, there's VIP, and there's platinum. Platinum's $5,297. You're going to get $7,000 worth of value there. That's in person. VIP, your VIP experience, your life, you get access to career. And you don't have to go through all the expense and travel and thousands of dollars to get to Las Vegas. We're going to deliver it directly to your home with the coolest $20 million studio you've ever seen. I mean, I can't even believe when I walk into that thing that's being built right now, finalized, I can't even believe that it's ours. It just blows my mind. But anyway, and when I say ours, I mean ours. We're going to be doing something really powerful together. So let me tell you about this gentleman that's going to absolutely rock this. If you haven't clicked on the share button yet, you need to pound the share button. Let everybody know. If you haven't hit that little love heart button, I want you to smash the love heart button so the whole screen is exploding in love hearts. This guy, Dean Graziosi, is an entrepreneur, innovator, self-education with a background in real estate investment. He recently partnered with Tony Robbins. He created a Knowledge Broker Blueprint, many other masterminds and courses. He's a New York Times best-selling author of several books, including probably my favorite, the Millionaire Success Habits book, super outrageous.